What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Revival, and today I thought I'd do another collection video. As you can see, I've got my PS1 collection here, and I'm gonna say it up front, it's mostly RPGs, because holy crap, that system had a lot of them, and I loved almost every single one that I played. I wasn't initially going to get one. I was assuming that I was going to be playing Nintendo 64 when the two got announced, because I was a Final Fantasy fan. Then they announced Final Fantasy VII for PlayStation, and I was like, oh crap, what am I going to do? Well, I've always been loyal to Nintendo anyways, I'll stick with it. And then I played a game on PlayStation 1, and I'll get to that eventually, but that's what sold me on the system. And holy crap, it's so good. Yeah. But what I think is funny is that even though it was such a leap from Super Nintendo and Genesis and stuff, there are still games that I would say, like, judging by today's standards, I would say some of the games on those older systems look better than some of the games on the PlayStation, which is kind of weird. Just because these are super blocky, and not all of them obviously, but like, you know, they went for the polygon look and stuff, and don't get me wrong, at the time it was amazing, and heck, you can still totally appreciate them now, but there are definitely some games there that are going to make your eyes bleed. And I think I'm going to probably end up, because there's so many here, I'm probably going to end up splitting this into maybe 2 or 3 videos, so we'll see what happens. So we'll just get started, I guess. Right off the top, figure I'll knock these out. These are all Final Fantasy games right here. My favorite series of all time. Had to have them all just because I freaking love them. So you got your Origins, which is Final Fantasy 1 and 2. Anthology, which is 5 and 6. And then you've got Chronicles, which is 4, and Chrono Trigger. And Tactics, holy crap, I love this game so much. First tactical RPG I ever played, and the best one that I've ever played. And I'm not just saying that because it was the first one, like I genuinely think this is... I have yet to see any game do the job system better than this one. Final Fantasy V actually does a really, really great one too, but this one, there's so much customization that you can do. It's fantastic, and it's been re-released a couple of times, so I mean, if you haven't had the chance to check this one out, definitely give it a shot at some point, because the story is, when I first played it, it went over my head, but as, you know, I've gotten older and stuff, it's clicked a little bit easier. I've only finished it to completion once, but that's because every time I play it, I'm always like, oh, I gotta grind, I gotta get as many jobs as I can leveled up and stuff so I can unlock the really cool ones. I just love this game. It's phenomenal. Final Fantasy VII, do I really need to say much about it? It's Final Fantasy VII. I still, like, it makes me smile looking at the back. Like, I don't think this, but I just think it's cool, because it kind of gives you the mindset that a lot of people had, and some people I'm sure still do. When it came out, right on the back it says, one of the reviews for it says, quite possibly the greatest game ever made. Doesn't sound like much, but honestly, like, because there's so many games, anybody can claim any game is the greatest ever made. But I don't know, because it made such an impact when it came out, I love seeing that, because it's a really, really good symbol of how everybody felt about it at the time. Final Fantasy VIII, didn't really love it when it first came out. I was super excited for it, because obviously 7 was so amazing. But over the years, I've gone back and I've replayed this, and I really developed an appreciation for it. I used to hate that enemies leveled up with you, because I was always used to, like, well, if I can't beat something, I just level up, power my way through it. This one actually made me think a little bit, and yes, there are ways to break the game. I've never been a fan of doing that. I typically just, you know, like, my friend Matt, he'll kill off 2 characters, leave 1 alive, and then, since the game averages monster levels with your party, you're basically going to have, like, one super high level character, the 2 that are dead are nothing, and then the enemies are going to be right in between, so your super high level character is going to be able to take out anything easily. It's just unfortunate, because I think that kind of stuff, the game-breaking mechanics that are in there, ruined it for a few people, because I know it kind of did for him. But at the same time, like, that stuff's never bothered me. I played it as intended, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. eventually. Final Fantasy IX, one of my favorite games of all time. Didn't even know it was coming out when it came out. I just saw it on a shelf at Best Buy and said, "Hi," and I bought it. So yeah, there's not much else to say. It's like playing a fairy tale. Yeah, it's fantastic. Tales of Destiny 1 and 2. I am a huge Tales fan, but I have not played either of these yet. I started with Symphonia. That was the first one that I ever played, and that's my favorite in the series so far. I've heard people say that the people that started with the series, that started with these, they actually, a lot of them that I've talked to that enjoy it, say that these are among the best in the series. So I'm really, really excited to eventually get into them at some point. Because I love the art style in those games, and it's like playing an anime, which is really, really cool. Brave Fencer Musashi, basically PlayStation's Zelda in my eyes. I bought this game because of the Final Fantasy VIII demo disc that came with it, and I think that was the Dalek invasion in that game, which I played so many times over. I thought it was so cool. But the game, this game itself, actually held up really well. I absolutely loved it. I don't hear a lot of people talking about it, unfortunately. Those that do, praise it to high heaven. It's such a good game, and the music is so good. And I would love to see them do something else, in a similar vein as this, because it really, at least in my eyes, is underappreciated. So and that might just be because I don't know that very many people played it, but it's really good, so if you get the chance, definitely check it out. The next one's a little bit heartbreaking for me. It's Blood Omen Legacy of Kain. It's the only PlayStation 1 game that I have that I don't have the case and manual for. And the reason is because I bought it used. This was a game that my cousin had on his PlayStation before I ever got one, and I saw him playing it, and I thought it looked kind of neat. It wasn't like anything that sold me on the system or anything, but I saw it and thought it looked cool, and holy crap, at the time the cutscenes in that game were brutal. Like now you probably look at them because they're polygon vampires sucking the blood out of somebody from across the room. It just looks goofy as hell. I'd probably get a good laugh if I tried playing it now, but it's actually a really good game too. Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Holy crap, this game is so good, and I was so wrong about it because I've never been huge on side scrollers. Other than I shouldn't say never. NES, I loved them. I couldn't tear me away from Mega Man, Contra, that kind of stuff. I never got into Castlevania though on the NES. I tried it a couple of times and it was brutally hard, so I just went back to playing stuff that I was familiar with and that I knew. My first job was working in a sandwich shop, and I was 14 at the time. My manager was in his late 30s, early 40s maybe, and he was a gamer as well. And we talked about Final Fantasy VII, and how good it was, how much we loved it and stuff. And he talked about this game as well. And he was like, "Have you played Castlevania Symphony of the Night?" And I was like, "No, not really my thing. I don't really have any interest." And he's like, "You should really check it out." And I was like, "Yeah, okay. Well, if I get the chance to, maybe we'll see." He finishes it, and he offers to sell it to me for $10. And I was like, "Oh, $10 game?" And he gave me the strategy guide too. I was like, "Sure, why not? What the heck?" I could not have been more wrong, because holy crap, this game is amazing. I don't know for sure because I haven't looked, but I hope that it's available for download on PS3 and some PSN source, Vita or whatever. If it's not, then that sucks, because more people should get a chance to play this if they haven't. It's just such a great game. It really, really is, and it's a great intro into the series too, because I've played a couple of the other ones since then, and I've enjoyed them because of it. So the next two I bought on a whim. The first one being Digimon Digital World. Yeah, I still couldn't tell you much about this today. I bought it because I was big into Pokemon, and I was like, you know what, hey, let's check it out. Maybe it's something similar on the PlayStation, because I want it on a console. Nope. I played it for an hour, and I remember just feeding my Digimon, and that was it. And nothing happened. And I have no doubt, because I'm sure there's somebody screaming at their screen right now. I have no doubt that I was doing it wrong. I just could not get into it because I couldn't figure out what the heck I was doing. So I couldn't tell you if it's a good game or a bad game. I just know that it didn't grab me. Anytime I see it up there sitting on my shelf, I kind of like going, yeah, maybe one day I should go back to that and check it out. Who knows, maybe I will. An RPG Maker, the first one. I thought it would be cool to make my own RPG. Thought it sounded fun. Until I realized, oh wait, that's work. And I didn't want to do work, I wanted to play games. So I got it, and I messed around with it a little bit. Didn't do much. I played there's like a tutorial campaign that you can play with it, and I played through that. It was okay, generic. And I always had ideas, but I didn't make any RPGs until I got it on my PC years later. And I was able to obviously do a lot more with it then. And I ended up making a game that was like, I never finished it, but what I had lasted like about 3 to 4 hours, which was kind of neat. And I enjoyed that. So I probably won't ever do anything else with that again, but it's kind of a cool little memory thing that I think about from time to time. And then these two. Wild Arms 1 and 2. Wild Arms 1 was a launch title for the PS1. It's actually, there's a screenshot of it on the back of the original PlayStation box. I adore these games so much. I've played the ones beyond these two, 3, 4, and 5. I just never really, and I liked them, just not as much as these two. 2, unfortunately, I don't think gets the credit it deserves. I see a lot more people hating on it than loving it. I enjoyed the hell out of it. 1 is by far my favorite in the series, though. It's so good. The battle system graphics, though, will make your eyes bleed. But as far as like the sprites and the world map and everything, and how it looks outside of combat, it still looks great. It still holds up today. And the story is so good, and it's so sad. And I love the characters, and I just love everything about it. And it's another one. I have the remake or whatever on PS2, Ultra Code F, I think it's called. And I'd like to go back and play that at some point, because I really I want to see how it compares to this. I've heard people say it's not as good, but I noticed that you get 3 more party members, which is kind of neat. So I don't know. I'll definitely check it out at some point, because this game is amazing, and I still absolutely love it to this day. Same with this one. I love 2. 2 has a great cast of characters, and it's a little out there, but at the same time, I don't know. I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed them both. So yeah. So we'll go ahead and call it on the first video. Obviously, I still have more, so we'll get into those next time. Until then, thanks for watching. Keep on gaming.